beginning of the Webcast. Welcome to a discussion here at OnLink that we are experimenting with this round, our very first round of trying this type of format with discussions. My name is Chad Waite. We've got Larissa and Riley here as well. And today we're going to be talking Affiliate Summit and decompressing what happened a couple weeks ago. Now we have a few days under our belts to think about it a little bit more. Really quickly, before we launch into that, a couple days ago, last week, there's a big snowstorm that rolled through Park City. Huge. It's been one of the craziest years in terms of snow that we've had in a long time. And while that was going on, we had this idea to like throw a live cast out the window. And we literally, the webcam that you're watching this on right now, we literally taped that to a coat rack and like hung it out the window. And we live streamed that.
Super legit.
It was super legit, right? And we make things happen here with scotch tape and stuff, but it worked. So we did that, and we were live streaming. And at like one point, there were like 20 people who were watching. And so we kind of thought, like, well, if 20 people want to watch a snowstorm, maybe they'd like to watch us talk about affiliate marketing topics and stuff. So maybe to start, it would be a good idea to kind of introduce. Take a couple minutes, introduce yourself, what you do here at OnLink, and I can start if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Chad Waite, marketing manager behind a lot of the webinars you've probably seen, any of the other live casts we've done. So this is definitely not our first rodeo, at least in terms of doing something with a live element. But yeah, excited to see how this pans out.
Hello, everybody. I'm Larissa Bortz. I'm on the account management team, and I'm on the merchant side. So I help to manage and rep various merchant programs that run in OnLink. And I am new to TV, but also feel like it's kind of like my place to shine at the same time. But I actually went to ASW for the first time this year, so it was like a whirlwind experience and really interesting to see, and hopefully there will be more to come.
And I'm Riley Sloat. I'm on the affiliate marketing team here, or affiliate management team, just affiliate team. I work with Jess and Jen. It's just the three of us, and we help manage the top 50 plus affiliates in the network. It was also my first time at Affiliate Summit West, so I had a different take on it, but yeah, it was fun.
And it's worth pointing out too that so Jess Skripek here on the team, who's on the affiliate side, excuse me, she usually comes down to these affiliate summits, whether it's East or West, and has been to I think 2 or 3 of them before. And last minute, she had a situation where she couldn't attend, and so Riley got kind of thrown into the deep end with all of these affiliate meetings. And essentially, your workload got like doubled, right? Because it was like, you know, divide and conquer, and then now that you're the only one on the affiliate side, you were going full bore for a while.
Yeah, so between me, Jess, and Jen, we manage, like I said, 50 plus accounts, and we probably had about 30 meetings set up. And me and Jess were supposed to kind of hammer those out together, and unfortunately she couldn't make it. So I had to do it, and it was a lot. It was a lot to pack in for the 2.5 days that we were there. But
have you caught up on sleep?
Yeah, actually that weekend I passed out for 16 hours 2 days in a row. I kid you not, it was 16 hours, 2 days. I was dead.
Yeah.
I was dead.
That's the kind of 3 days it was.
Yeah. Well, actually, maybe that's a good way to start. So this was not my first affiliate summit, right? This actually, if you have been to affiliate summit before, you'll know that they have the little buttons that you get for like the number of years you've attended. And officially, this time around, I reached number 10. So I went into double digits. So this was all kind of part. Yeah. Yeah. So I fudged the numbers a little bit. Hear me out there. So as far as like, right, and I did get this. I will say I did get this with Sean Collins, the founder of Affiliate Summit. He said that this could fly, so I don't feel guilty about it. But for actual affiliate summits, that was my 9th one. And then Affiliate Summit runs these little feeder events called Performance Marketing Summits. And I presented at one that was down here in Salt Lake a couple years back. And so I was like, whatever, I'm going to count that. I want my 10 plus year button. So I did that, and he was like, well, that's okay. Don't worry. I'm not going to tell anyone. But of course, now everybody here is. So yeah, I totally knew what to expect from the, like, just how tired do you get side of it. And you get really tired because I think what people probably don't realize is like between the expo hall floor and all the meetings that you have, you have to make every single minute count at these things. Like from the time that you get up to the time that you're going to bed, everything's packed if you plan it out right. Did you do a lot of pre-planning?
Yeah. So we actually put together kind of like a schedule. We had reached out to all of our affiliates. We saw who was attending, and then used the Packable to schedule meetings with them. And we had it all laid out. We shared that with the merchant team because we had a few people from the merchant team attending as well, and we wanted to make sure that whoever was going to be at the booth would be at the booth, and that we weren't, leaving anything unattended. But we were pretty packed. I mean, for me, I can speak to myself, but it was 9 a.m. till 3 a.m. 2 days in a row, and then the last day it was still 9 a.m. till whatever time we got home, which was at like 10 p.m. at night. I mean, so it was nonstop. I was on
the red eyes after the show shuts down.
Yeah. And even breaks to like go eat or grab dinner or whatever, it was with a client. So it was just constantly networking and talking to people. And
I'll say that even after 10 years, the one thing that I've never been able to structure the schedule is actually going to eat. Yeah. Like unless there's a defined dinner time with a client, meals take second priority to basically everything.
Exactly.
It's insane. Yeah. So 3 a.m. bedtimes. Did you have a better bedtime?
I was like a little bit earlier, but I mean it was an all-day affair every day, and I mean the affiliate team did such an awesome job setting up meetings where I think the merchant team was able to kind of like piggyback on top of those meetings. And something that was really awesome for me was I actually met one of the top programs that I manage, and I met them in person for the first time.
Oh, nice.
So that was awesome because I've been working with them for over a year now, and we have calls every week and email like 10 times a day, and we communicate so much that I feel like I know them already. So it was actually almost kind of bizarre to be like, it's finally you, like.
Right, do you almost feel a little awkward when you're like shaking hands with him, like as if you're introducing for the first time, and like you have them on speed dial.
We just went straight into the hug.
You know like who they are, but you're not sure if they know who you are.
Yeah.
But
actually, I have a perfect example of this. So there's an agency out there started by a guy named Greg Hoffman, right? So if you've been in the industry, you use the household name. And Greg and I have been interacting on like Facebook for years, and yes, like literally like 3 or 4 years at this point. And we've even talked on the phone a couple times, but we've never ever had a chance to actually meet like in person. And I remember walking up to him and like I finally he was there in person for the first time. I was like, "Hi, like I'm Chad," and shook his hand, and he's like, "No, we've met before." It's like, no, like we actually like I know it feels like that. I know you have my phone number in your in your phone, and that we're like besties on Facebook, but like we actually haven't met in person. He's like, no, we have.
Yeah.
Tell me when. I don't know. I know we have. No, it's so weird to actually like have a conversation in person. So.
Yeah. So I actually am going to add on to that because I have a hilarious story. But I was meeting with Upsell It on behalf of Jen. Obviously, she didn't come this year, and so I had this meeting with Upsell It, and Cecilia had come into the suite, and she sat down right next to me, and she's talking to Scott and to Larissa, and they're having this whole conversation. I'm just sitting there, waiting for Cecilia to show up. And like, I had never met her before, and so I did, and it was very briefly at the Alma Expo.
Right.
And so I'm just sitting there, and like 10 minutes goes past, and I'm like, I guess Cecilia isn't gonna make it. And Larissa just looks at me and she's like, oh my God, you're Cecilia. And it was just so funny and like embarrassing at the same time.
Hey, you know what? You can't help it though if you've never met.
And to that point, I think it goes a long way when you're actually able to put like a face to the name.
Oh, yeah.
And just how that alone can help build the relationship so much more. And then I think, like you email back and forth all the time, but until you actually meet someone in person is when you can actually understand and kind of interpret like what they're saying and how they say things. And like, it's just like a deeper understanding, and it's not like, hey, so-and-so via email. It's like, hey, like I know you.
Yeah.
And it's really nice.
Isn't it weird sometimes how like some personalities come out on email or like any like interactions on say like a digital channel, and then you meet the person and it's like, you're not at all what I expected. Like you don't act like you do on the phone or an email.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's for better or for worse. But it's weird how personalities differ a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, if Cecilia does watch this, congratulations on the engagement.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Congrats.
But it was awesome. And just going back to my original point, with some of my accounts that were there, the affiliate team made it really easy for me to facilitate meetings with my merchant accounts and those top publishers within their programs.
Right.
So it was awesome, and they did a great job. And just having it, it was my first time there, and it's so chaotic, and it was just really nice to be able to take my merchant and connect them with my affiliate in such an easy, seamless way.
Is this the first time? Oh, excuse me. I got some of this LaCroix down my throat. So besides Avon Expo, you were both at Avon Expo, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So besides Avon Expo, have you ever done like a conference like this where you actually get to meet face to face? At least since you've been at Avon Link.
I went to IRCE, but that's not like an affiliate.
Yeah, that's definitely more on the
so
merchant end, kind of the whole e-com.
Yeah, it's definitely different. So not really.
And it was your first time really kind of in this.
In like this space, yeah. I've been to trade shows before, but not to the.
Have you been to a trade show in Vegas before?
I have. So I used to work for a car freshener company, and they would go down to the
to SEMA? Would they go to SEMA?
Yes.
Oh, that's a killer show.
I
love that show.
And that was the same year I had helped launch some products, and so I was debuting a couple of my own products, and it was kind of cool. We got to talk with.
I didn't know you've been to SEMA. I've been there like 3 or 4 times, and it's so like media only or like industry only.
Yeah.
But I got into the car blog that I ran, so yeah, it's kind of a big deal there.
So that was probably another like big one, but even then it was not as intense. It was actually bigger than ASW. But interaction isn't as intense as ASW was.
Well,
I wasn't talking.
Yeah, see, that's one weird thing about Affiliate Summit is I feel like people are there to party first and foremost. I think a lot of the lead gen crowd comes down there to Vegas because it's Vegas, and then a lot of the work stuff happens kind of secondarily. But for a lot of the CPS side, like people are there to get crap done, right? And that's why you have those long 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. days. The one major complaint that I have about Vegas, so I think a lot of people, what they don't know is Affiliate Summit's actually, it's a democratic process in terms of where the event is held, or at least that was the way it was up until a couple of years ago. And they actually turned the location voting open to all the attendees, so that where do you want it to be next year? And yeah, right, most people don't know that. The people who do know that are mostly the lead gen people who want it to be in Vegas. And I remember talking to Sean Collins one time, and he was like, yeah, Vegas wins by like it gets like 90% of the vote, right? Like all the cost per sale people are like, bring it back to San Diego or something. Yeah. But they have it come back to Vegas every year because it's mostly a lot of the lead gen side who says, we want it to be there. It's a big international draw.
Right. I think like the CPA side of things has just grown tremendously in the past, I would say like 5 to 8 years.
Yeah. And
it's such a huge money market, and people are just trying to get their piece of the pie there, and in doing so, it's easier to acquire a lead or a email sign up or a free trial than it is to acquire an actual sale. Yeah. And so I think it's just a lot of people are on that side of the industry, and they're experiencing a tremendous success, and it's just kind of overshadowed what the CPS side
was that something that when you're actually on like the showroom floor, like the whole vetting of somebody to talk to?
Yeah. So I mean, as you know, like I'm a little familiar with the lead gen side of things. I have a couple of my family members that are on that side, and so I guess for me, I expected it to happen. I had heard like all these stories about ASW before, and so I kind of knew that audience before going into
You've been prepped.
Right. Like I kind of knew what they were talking about and how to differentiate it from what we were doing. So for me, it was pretty easy to just be like, hey, we only work on a CPS basis. We sell, like, we pay out commissions on hard goods. And then it was just like, conversation over. But there were like some instances, where they would come and they just, they would go into this huge pitch on what they did, and you could tell, that we'd be like trying to connect like the dots here, like how,
Right.
you know, and then after 30 minutes, it felt like, but probably just a minute or so, I'd be like, no, this is like, we're an affiliate network, we're on a cost per sale basis only, we work with retailers, and it was crazy.
Piggybacking on that, something that was interesting about ASW2B was just how many different like variations or like slight variations on different companies or like types of like lead gen or types of like some sort of performance marketing like network or technology or whatever it was there are, and just how many different sides of this like overarching industry there are. Like it was really crazy to see, and it's like Riley said, like it's hard to sort of like pick out what is relevant to you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so I would say, I mean, if there's any affiliates that are watching this, I would say when you're approaching somebody at a booth, or even just approaching somebody in general, you need to come up to them, and the first thing that should be out of your mouth is, I'm an affiliate. And I'm looking for this, because we would be talking to these people and they would have no relevancy to what AutoLink is or what we do.
And then, like you said, you spend all that time.
And
like,
you're wasting
that.
my time,
Right.
you're wasting
Right.
your time, and like you said, every minute counts, and it's all about making those connections and making the right connections. And so just that simple approaching you and being like, hey, I'm an affiliate, this is what I'm looking for, helps the conversation go by so much easier.
You know, Larissa, to your point too, I think I told a couple of people this. It's interesting that at an event like Affiliate Summit, one of the most conversations you're having to have with people is to explain what affiliate marketing is.
Yeah.
And actually, and one thing I noticed when you're walking up and down like the trade show floor, for example, and you look at all the booths that are out there, the places and the companies that you can go visit, people you can talk to, if you actually like stepped back and objectively looked at how many of those booths were about CPS, you know, cost per sale, like you're saying, Riley, like sale of hard goods and not like lead gen stuff. It was like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It was like AutoLink, Share Sale, and Affiliate Manager, who we got lucky enough to be right next to from a booth perspective. And like that was it.
Yeah.
Like the rest was actually a good question. What is the weirdest lead gen thing that you saw there? Was there one that like stuck out?
Someone came up to the booth and just asked us, do you do adult? And like obviously like they did lead gen for like pornography stuff. And we were like, what is happening?
No, or there was a guy that was like, I'll sell you personal loan.
Yeah,
A
lot of people offered us,
and we were like, we don't know
personal
what you're
loan,
talking about,
okay.
but we need to like keep going.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
To that point, like we also met a lot of really valuable affiliates who have since joined AutoLink, and we are starting to form affiliate partnerships with them and connecting them with our merchants.
Right.
There were definitely a couple of diamonds in the rough for sure. It just, as with probably any conference you go to, it's just like finding them and vetting those people out and really figuring out like, okay, we can work together. This is relevant.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things, like going into this conference, and I've seen this so many times in the years that I've been there, like depending on what you want to get out of the show, the results are really going to speak to like different success metrics, right? So like if a company goes in and like you're saying, all they want to do is find new clients. Like we're, XYZ merchant, and all we want to do is just find a handful of new affiliates to join up with our program. That's not going to happen. And just most of the conversations will happen with existing clients, like you guys are trying to, create and facilitate, where the new relationships are there, but it's not this overwhelming flood. But that doesn't mean that they don't exist. And, it's always kind of fun to see those things materialize and people start to get active and get on board with like the network or certain program after. Just out of curiosity, so since you both represent different sides, like you were there obviously focusing on the affiliate, but you were there working with the merchant side, did the majority of your conversations with a client end up happening with like a secondary, like the alternative part of the client relationship too? So like you'd be meeting with your merchant, and then would it like most of the time inevitably end up involving an affiliate that was nearby or like in the room during the conversation?
Yeah, so actually the way that I kind of set up my conference was with one of my main accounts that I manage, my merchant, and we together, the two of us, met with all of their top affiliates. So I was kind of acting as like
okay,
a proxy,
interesting.
and then, if Riley could jump in, if it was like an affiliate that she specifically worked with, then she could maybe like help facilitate the conversation.
Right.
So I would say that the objective of most of our meetings were to meet with their top affiliates. And as from the network perspective, being there and trying to help move that partnership along in whatever way I can.
Right.
So
And it kind of makes it easier too, because once you get into our top performers, like, their top merchants are also the same as those merchants' top affiliates. So like Deal News or whoever it may be, they're going to be a top affiliate for that merchant, and that merchant's going to be a top merchant for that affiliate.
Yeah, right.
And
So it's kind of a
easier to be
symbiotic
like,
situation. That,
hey, right, like you've grown X amount of dollars with this person this past year.
Yeah.
How can we optimize with them? How can we grow those sales?
Mhm.
And when you have Patagonia or Fabletics there, who can facilitate those conversations in person and actually make those deals happen, like it's very, very beneficial.
Was the case the same for like your merchants or your affiliates in terms of like it was the first time that they had actually met their affiliate or merchant too in person outside of just emails?
Absolutely, and I think too, it just goes to show like how valuable that in-person meeting and connection can be, because I know for some accounts, like we've been trying to get going or optimize or ramp up with certain affiliates more where, and I think that January is honestly a perfect time to have this conference too, because it's right at the beginning of the year. You're really focusing on what you want to do new for 2017. And it's just like a great opportunity to be like, let's test these things out. So by the time Q4 rolls around, you know what works and you can really connect on those things and figure out like what you're going to do, how can we do more. And it's just like a really good opportunity to see like, especially looking back on Q4, like what worked, what didn't work, and now what can we do better for this coming year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So,
and kind of like adding to that too, it is at such a perfect time. It's mid-January. It gives you enough time to be able to look at the past year and analyze the data and see who you've grown with, who's declining, who you should be focusing on. So like the affiliate team before I went to the conference, we put together this end of year analysis, and it just showed quarter over quarter by growth, year to date by merchant, and it was just very having that full scope of the entire year right before, rather than if it was being hosted in June or something, you're like, okay, who have we grown so far? This year. But this
you can only look
actually
at like
have
trend
an
and
entire
behavioral data.
right, and then you can also compare that from 2016 to 2015 and see who left your program, who joined your program, and I mean, it just definitely gives you a little more insight.
There was also a study that I read that was talking about how for the B2B space, there's the most productive part of the year is, of course, the first 2 weeks into the new year, right? And because like you were saying, there's this renewed interest in making kind of these broad, sweeping goals happen. More than that, there's also renewed budget. So everybody's kind of coming into like a fresh budget year. And then, like you said, if you can kind of go back and critically analyze a full year instead of just like half a year, you kind of look at like little chunks. Yeah, it's definitely well timed. I mean, that's definitely not by accident on Sean's part over at Affiliate Summit and Missy's part. So it also makes for a stupid busy January. There's so many freaking shows that happen.
Yeah, and where you're kind of in the retail space and you're dealing with so much seasonality too. It's going to be when you're looking at that full year, you can say, okay, you grew the most in Q1. This is where you saw the most revenue being generated, or this is your slowest quarter. How can we help optimize during that time to increase sales? So it definitely gives you a lot of insight.
Is this from your meetings? Was this a show that was something where business deals and like the strategy was actually planned right then and there, like on the show floor or in the in the suite? Or was it something where it was more like you meet the person, get to know them, exchange business cards or whatever, and then you kind of go and create that strategy after you get back, or a mix of both?
I think it's just a little bit of both and how the conversation goes when you're in person. There's a lot, when I'm meeting with Jess or Jen's affiliates, like I don't have that relationship with them. I'm not in their account every day. I don't know what their numbers I don't have them memorized or know what they look like. And so most of those conversations were very casual and just getting to know each other and kind of building that relationship. I would ask them whatever questions I thought would benefit Jess and Jen, and I got that. But then there's some affiliates, like I had great conversations with Coupon Cabin, and how we can kind of get their program going again, because obviously in 2013 we had a lot of changes with our merchant program. So, some of them were very strategic. I had a strategic one with Saks Underwear. So it's just, some of them are strategic.
Which get 2 thumbs way up.
Yeah. There's very strategic ones, and then there's very casual and just get to know each other. It really just depends on.
I'd say coming from the merchant side, I think we went into a lot of our meetings with like specific topics to cover and specific questions to ask, and a lot of that, either maybe we would review placements that we did and what worked and what didn't work, and how can we, continue to test out the placements that did work, and even further the performance on those placements.
It's like analysis of tactics that you've used before and stuff.
Exactly, and I think, to Riley's point, I think some of it was more casual, but at least coming from the merchant side, where you're with one specific merchant meeting with one specific affiliate, I think that we kind of went into those meetings with like pretty much exact talking points that we wanted to go over. And
you had your checklist of things you knew you were going to cover.
An agenda to review, and I think they were very beneficial. And I will say that you can accomplish in person in about 2 minutes what you can accomplish via email over the course of 2 weeks.
I'm sure everybody who's watching this is doing the ubiquitous head nod, I hear you. That's totally
it is amazing. Just all right, this is what we're going to do. This work. We're going to test out more of this, and we're going to move forward with that. Done.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier, and I thought it was very productive, and I thought it was super effective.
Good.
So
Good.
Yeah.
From the merchant side, we probably got all types of merchants, right? Kind of across the board, our big ones or small ones, everything in between. But from the affiliate side though, was there a type of demographic of affiliates that you tended to meet with most? Was it shopping, loyalty, or coupon sites, or did you have a lot of interactions with more of the small content sites?
No, we didn't have too many content sites. Obviously, the bigger players in the networks are generally the coupon loyalty deal.
Right.
And so those are the ones that are there. Right.
Yeah.
And so there were a few content sites that would come to the booth that either were in our network and were looking to grow, that we didn't already have a relationship with, or that we're trying to get into the network. But for the most part, at least for my personal meetings, it was all with the loyalty.
And I noticed too that it sounded like, and this is my first year, so I don't know how people did it in years previous, but it sounded like even some affiliates didn't even get the exhibit pass this year, and they were actually just meeting people out in the lobby of the Paris Hotel.
Right.
And stuff like that, because they could conduct all their meetings, but not necessarily need to get that pass, and it was still just as productive, and because it's more about everyone's in the same place at the same time, which is really valuable. So
I know that's something that Affiliate Summits tried curbing, is they call it the lobby networking.
Right.
But to be fair though, I do think that when a lot of the time in, for example, the exhibit hall is spent, vetting if this person even knows what affiliate marketing is, let alone if they're a viable person to be, be a client or somebody who's going to participate on your program in your network. I can see the draw of that, right? There's definitely a pro and con to it. So
yeah. I think too, from a cost per sell side of things, because this lead gen is growing so big, it's kind of taking over the conference, there isn't much need for them to be on the floor, and they'd like to facilitate those meetings outside of the hotel, or we have people get suites and things that they didn't even get their floor pass. So.
Affiliate Summit attempt to curb this though. They've had something called the Red Share Roundup, which if we're speaking frankly here, it was kind of a bummer to see that it didn't get more of a bigger focus than it has. It was a 2-hour segment, and it was kind of in this side area of the expo hall where I think a lot of people missed it. And this was kind of the attempt to bring everything back to cost per sale, right? Like, if you are an affiliate, say a blogger or loyalty site or whatever it is, and you do CPS only, here are the programs that are CPS. And it's no lead gen stuff, it's no CPC side, it's all cost per sale. And I just I feel like if they put more of an emphasis on that, like more than just a 2-hour segment and more than kind of relegating it to this little like side hall area, then they'll probably get a lot of the people that we wanted to meet with, maybe some of the content affiliates that stay well away from the show, back into the floor because it is a little bit more relevant to them.
Yeah, and some of my feedback, I'm sure you guys got the survey that ASW sent out afterwards for you to fill in and give feedback to on. One thing was better categorizing the floor. Because you would go and you'd have a CPS network over here, and then right next to it would be mobile traffic, and then right next to that would be a fulfillment center, and right next to that would be white labeling, and then you'd have, and it's just none of it made sense. If they could put the CPS networks right next to each other, or even just in the same row at least, just so that there's some type, and then all the fulfillment, all the white labeling, all of the mobile traffic, all the...
Basic question, why is a fulfillment thing? That's the type of thing that you would see at IRCE, right?
Yeah.
Like a fulfillment or a logistics thing, but the affiliate side is just kind of wow, is that really, does that help the actual marketing side? Maybe some people found it really kind of valuable, but...
Yeah, I think that they are probably involved in it in some way, but for a newcomer like myself, it kind of makes me just even more confused as to what's going on, because and this is the other really interesting thing about ASW is I think here at AvaLink, we are so focused in our own little world about just cost per sale that we don't ever really take the opportunity to step back and look at all the different parts of this performance marketing industry. And so, and just like I was saying earlier, how many different pieces and different variations of different companies there are doing kind of similar things, but also different. And so, I think I just have a more narrow view maybe on affiliate marketing, which is not necessarily reflective of all of performance marketing.
Yeah, yes. And it's definitely a purist view, right? Because in this is one thing to, when people come up to the booth and they say, well, what do you do? And I would actually use the line as, we focus on just cost per sale, right? That's our core competency. We don't do anything of sale of electronic products. We don't do any CPL. We don't do any CPC stuff. And I think a lot of people at least understood that maybe not what we did, but that we didn't fit into what they understood, and so it kind of got them away. So it is definitely a purist approach as to what
except for when they're trying to connect the dots and they still just are trying to find a way of how they can work with you, and you're like, no.
Which is every other business.
I know, it's awful. I'd be CPS, and they would just sit there and be like, okay, so I have a dating website, and you're just like, no.
Actually, to answer my own question, that is the most random lead gen that every single year I've seen. It's not just dating, because there's big known companies that are datingfactory.com. Because clearly, if you want to try to find true love, you go to datingfactory.com. But the Russian dating site stuff, is just the most oddly bizarre thing. We have plenty of brides from Russia. It's
But I was thinking there was definitely a language barrier between a lot of folks.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Affiliate Summit East takes us to a whole other level too, because you draw from a very Middle Eastern crowd, so you get a lot of tech firms from Israel in there and stuff, and you really have to kind of get ready to have a little bit of a slower dialogue just to make sure you're kind of catching everything. So all of this is important, all of this is good, but the one last question, and easily the most important for anything related to Affiliate Summit, what was the best party?
Riley.
Well, okay, maybe we should start by what party did you go to and which one was your favorite?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to see if I can remember. I feel like I've just already blocked this out of my memory.
I personally had a lot of dinners, and then I forget which night it was, the 2 nights, We went to the Swag Bucks and My Points party.
Yeah, we went to this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
loyalty lounge thing.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had a suite in Cosmo. I think it was in
Freaking
Cosmo.
ridiculous.
And it
They had the
was-
same one last
All I have
year
to
too.
say is those desserts were so good.
Yeah, so the My
these
Points,
little- anyways, they were
the My Points Starbucks party was good. We went out there and it was packed with a lot of people. They had a great turnout. They had amazing food available. They had an open bar. And I was there actually most of the night. So that was kind of cool. I did miss the excess was slushy.
Fresh Connect, yeah, the
Yeah.
Fresh
Yeah.
Connect party.
You know
Yeah.
what? We
But
had
apparently it
some.
was amazing.
We had some Avantis go who said it was like a great time.
Oh, we have video footage of
And
one
we have
breaking
some
down
video
some
footage.
serious dance moves.
Yeah.
So.
It may be a future social post.
Yeah, maybe if we get enough people like commenting on this to say show us the video, we can release it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were saving it for blackmail, but.
But a lot of it was just like little get-togethers. I met up
Yeah.
with Trimax, Link Connector, and iMwave. They were just having like a little tiny party, private party, and went over there and connected with those guys. So
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. So one of the best parties was Link Connector's party, right? Like they had like 2 days they did for 2 days they did a little after party in their suite in Paris, and not that like we get into the habit of like praising competitors or something, but it's really cool when you're at an industry event like this where a lot of people, like the industry can be friendly if you're not an absolute dick, right? Like there are some people that everybody like everybody I think kind of has a ubiquitous opinion about like, oh, this company or this person is a little bit more, butt heads with a lot of stuff, but a lot of people there are just chill, and I think a lot of them operate under the assumption that maybe a rising tide lifts all boats, especially in an environment where like the affiliate side is not as prolific as what you're saying, the whole performance environment.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of cool. Like I remember going to the Link Connector one, obviously Share Sales big, the Stars parties, the big kind of marquee event there. I would say, so we actually co-sponsored an event with All Inclusive Marketing. It was a blogger meetup. And that was a great event because it was not only fun, but it was also like really business driven though. Like it still kind of skirted that line between like the business and pleasure and just hit it right down the middle where, we walked away with some really good contacts and some really good food and these cool little solar lanterns and their giveaway swag bags, which is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen, right? But I would also say that my other favorite was probably the JEB meetup, which is another agency-sponsored thing at the Todd English Public Urban Bar in the Aria. And that one's fun just because it's a lot more chill. It was more kind of about just like casual interactions than anything like super business related. And that bar also has the most insane amount of beer selection I've ever seen in my entire life. I actually found my favorite brew is called New Belgium Side Trip. No, it's not Snapchat. Yeah, it is Side Trip. So they have a bunch of S ones, but it's called Side Trip, and it's delicious, and you can't find it anywhere, especially since we're based in Utah, where liquor laws are. Yeah, we want to get into
Beer is
that.
hard to come by. We'll just say that.
Maybe that's another affiliate discussion. We don't even have to talk about performance.
Yeah.
Darius, our sound and audio tech's like, yep.
Sure, we can talk about beer.
So
Talk about beer.
that's the easiest conversation, right?
For sure. I actually was in San Diego last weekend. Only point about this, and I went to the Ballast Point Brewery.
Oh,
and
that's so cool.
I just learned that Ballast Point sold last year for $1 billion.
Wow.
My gosh,
Isn't that insane? $1 billion.
Yeah,
that's literally the price of eBay 2 years
This is like
ago.
a craft brewer in San Diego who, they have 2 breweries in the city. And anyways, it was just crazy and it's so good and it was really fun.
Don't we have some Ballast Point in the fridge up there, I think?
I think we
Yeah.
do.
It's
Yeah.
that or it's Anchor
Yeah.
Steam or
That's why
something.
they started popping up in like all the grocery stores too.
Yeah, but they have just like
Oh, that's
become so
interesting.
popular so fast
Yeah.
and they sold for $1 billion and I've never heard of that for like a small craft
$1 billion for a
That's-
craft brewery.
Yeah, so
And there you have it. If you want affiliate marketing news, you now know that craft breweries have been bought for $1 billion. And like, the way to tie this in is that is the same price that Linkshare and Rakuten bought Ebates for 2 years ago. So you can either have loyalty or you can have beer, but those are your two choices for $1 billion. Okay, well, cool. Any last thoughts? Maybe any like final parting wisdom for newcomers if you were to give any bit of advice for attending Affiliate Summit for the first time? Affiliate Summit West, we should say.
I would just say
Get a lot of
definitely-
sleep.
definitely get a lot of sleep, but also just try and have your days like planned out as the best that you can.
Maximize your time and get a lot of rest before. Don't go into it tired.
Yeah,
Yeah. My other random one, my actually biggest recommendation, and I mean this in no joking way at all, bring your own water bottle from home and drink a shit ton of water.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not making this up, the casinos there pump in a bunch of oxygen. It's a way in the air there that they have people just kind of sit at the machines and do this all night long because they have a little bit more blood flow when you have more oxygen there. And so the terrible byproduct of this is everything is super, super dry.
Yeah.
And we're coming from freaking desert Utah, so we're used to dry weather, but it's doubly so in the casinos. And so between all the talking and all of the liquor and alcohol that's so amazingly readily available at every turn, I cannot believe how much liquor there is at this show. The water is like the biggest thing. Like no matter how prepped up you are, or if you're going to the show, just bring a water bottle and just guzzle that stuff like there's no tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's a marathon, not a sprint. So
Yes.
drink water, sleep beforehand, and plan out your days. So
Maybe it's kind of a final thing.
because
You
3
always-
days in Vegas feels like a lifetime.
And I don't know about you two, but it's so easy to spot the people who are there for the first time. When on like Sunday night, you know that these people just went so hard at these parties and stayed up till like 3 or 4 and were just drinking like crazy.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, I mean, they're doing the zombie walk of shame, right?
For
It's like,
sure.
whoa. So
For sure.
there you go. Affiliate Summit in a nutshell.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Valuable insight from the team here. Well, cool. Yeah, I feel like that went well. Thanks, ladies. It's been a lot of fun.
For sure. Of course.
I think we're gonna try to keep these up, maybe a new topic every week. And if you're watching this either on the recorded version, which we will have a recorded version of this, or the live cast, first off, thank you. And second off, if you have any topics you'd like to see covered, or if you liked this, didn't like it, and were just repulsed by some of the conversations that we had, then let us know. Any feedback's good feedback at this point. So thank you very much, and major props to Darius Carrot. Yes, golf. Very good, ubiquitous golf class. Who is not only a brilliant content strategist, but also the guy who does basically everything that we need done that nobody else knows how to do. Like set up all the audio visual stuff for live streaming, recording, and voice stuff too. So well done, Darius.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
And I'm gonna go get some water now because my mouth is so.